The academic procession is about to commence.
I now request the guests to rise and join our students for the national anthem. Foundation year students, under the guidance of Ustad Ehtishamuddin Hussain, will present the national anthem.
ईश्वरे हसीन शाद बाद तू निशाने अज़्मे आली शान अर्ज़े पाकिस्तान मरकज़े यकीन शाद बाद पाक सरज़मीन का निज़ाम क़ुव्वते अवाम कौम मुल्क सल्तनत पाइंदा बिंदाबाद शादाबाद मंजिले मुराद परचमे सितारों हिला रहबरे तरक्कियों कमाल तर्जुमाने माज़ी शाने हाल जाने इस्तक़बाल साए खुदाए ज़ुल्जलाल.
The registrar will request the chairman of the Board of Governors to declare the convocation open.
I declare the convocation open.
We begin the proceedings with the recitation of the Holy Quran from Surah Al-Ma'idah by Asim Muhammad Amin, Department of Fine Art.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم يا أيها الذين آمنوا كونوا قوامين لله شهداء بالقسط ولا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى واتقوا الله إن الله خبير بما تعملون. O you have believed, be persistently standing firm for Allah, witnesses in justice, and do not let the hatred of a people prevent you from being just. Be just, that is nearer to righteousness, and fear Allah. Indeed, Allah is acquainted with what you do. ए ईमान वालो, खुदा के लिए इंसाफ की गवाही देने के लिए खड़े हो जाया करो और लोगों की दुश्मनी तुमको इस बात पर आमादा ना करे कि इंसाफ छोड़ दो. इंसाफ किया करो कि यही परहेज़गारी की बात है और खुदा से डरते रहो. कुछ शक नहीं कि खुदा तुम्हारे सारे आमालों से खबरदार है.
The Executive Director of Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, Ms. Samina Rais Khan, will present the welcome address.
Chairman, Board of Governors, Dr. Ishrat Hussain Sahab, Chairperson Executive Committee, Samira Raja, Chairperson Finance and Planning, Muiz Ahmad Sahab, members of the Board of Governors and the Executive Committee, faculty members, founders of the school, IVS alumni, parents, and the graduating class 2018. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the 25th convocation of the school. On behalf of IVS graduates, the faculty, the Board of Governors, the Executive Committee, it is my privilege to welcome Professor Salima Hashmi as the keynote speaker to this convocation. Ladies and gentlemen, this year we are starting again on a sad note because the first Dean of Academics of the Indus Valley School, Dr. Javed, had passed last night. He joined IVS during 2016 and 17, and due to his health condition could not continue his assignment in IVS. I will request all of us to observe 1 minute silence and remember him in your prayers. Ladies and gentlemen, the ayat just recited from Surah Al-Ma'idah highlights the need for justice and the righteous acts and deeds in a neutral environment. The real test comes when one has to do justice for those who disagree with you or don't like one another or have some other kind of aversion. In those conflicting situations, we are advised to remain just, and no less is expected from us by the higher moral law. I have especially taken out this note to connect how Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, right from its inception, has been working towards creating a just and tolerant society as part of its mission. IVS Vision 2025 and our core values represent how we operate in the real world through a meritorious admission strategy, a conscientious financial assistance and scholarship program to respect and to bring the diversity of the country, inclusion of all the segments of society, along with the deeply rooted community services program, which is recorded in the statutory structure of the school. And this is all just for the creation of a just environment. It is always gratifying to reflect how IVS and its graduates have been contributing to the well-being of the society. 109 students are passing out as the historical 25th batch of 2018. Before this batch, 1,656 IVS alumni are contributing and serving as instruments of social change as artists, designers, and architects. There are many alumni who have now evolved through these roles as the community leaders recognized nationally and internationally. Ladies and gentlemen, 2018 witnessed IVS alumnus from the 2004 batch, architect Umar Umari, contesting elections and winning a seat in the Sindh Assembly. Others like Associate Professor Adila Suleiman, Shamoon Sultan Allahwala, Marvi Mazhar have been appointed as advisors in the National History and Literary Heritage Division in the Ministry of Education. Architect Ramesh Beg was elected as the youngest chairman of the Institute of Architects Pakistan, Karachi chapter, after having completed a 3-year tenure as the honorary secretary of the Architects Regional Council Asia. A group of IVS alumni comprising Sami Chauhan, architect Salman Javed, Mustafa Mehdi, Bilal Kapadia, and faculty member Assistant Professor Durre Shawar Alvi as the curatorial team designed the first ever National Pavilion of Pakistan in the 16th edition of the Venice Biennale of Architecture in Italy. The architecture section of the Biennale is a flagship event held every 2 years in Italy. It encourages participation by countries around the world to showcase their national exhibition projects around a given subject. The 6 members team also included Zeba Asad, a 4th-year student of the architecture department. Articulated as the fold and inspired by the confined yet liberating qualities of the densely populated areas of Karachi, the Pavilion of Pakistan was up for display from May to November in Venice. Other alumni are gaining repute in their respective fields. The list is long, but I will mention a few more names that are making a real difference. Shamoon Sultan Allahwala, Sania Maskatia, Nida Azwar, and Warda Salim are some of the leading names in textile and fashions. Adila Suleiman, Asma Mundrawala, Sadia Salim, Zarmine Shah, Seher Naveed, Anam Jamal, Seema Nusrat, and many others are now acclaimed artists and curators nationally and internationally. Tazeen Hussain, Umar Adil, Baba Sheikh, Bilal Maqsood, and several others contributing in print and electronic media as well as in the emerging Pakistani cinema. Along with the alumni, ladies and gentlemen, IVS permanent faculty and visiting faculty members, Munawwar Ali Sayyid, Ruhi Ahmed, Alia Yusuf, Sana Barni, Umar Wasim, Muhammad Zishan are reaching out to the larger society through their artistic and intellectual endeavors and helping IVS to achieve its Vision 2025. One of IVS adjunct faculty, Naila Mahmood at Communication Design Department, who is also a current member of the Executive Committee, was the recipient of North Carolina State University Rap Science and Society Symposium Grant and the American Institute of Pakistan Studies Lecture Series Award. She has recently presented her work and participated in seminars at Rhode Island School of Design, Brown University, Cornell University, and North Carolina University. Simultaneously, a lot is happening inside IVS. Professor Asma Abbas joined IVS as the new Dean of Academics at the beginning of the fall semester. She has been a professor of politics and philosophy at Bard College at Simon's Rock. She is also director of HICROSA, an international art, education, and politics collective. She is the writer of several essays and the books, notably Liberalism and Human Suffering and Another Love. She received her MBA from the Institute of Business Administration in Karachi, her MA in Liberal Studies from the New School for Social Research, and her PhD in Political Science from the Pennsylvania State University. Earlier this year, Associate Professor Sadia Salim has been appointed as the Director Graduate Studies. Sadia has studied ceramics at the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture and EDM in Art and Art Education at Teachers College, Columbia University. She is a practicing artist and recipient of the Commonwealth Arts and Crafts Award and Fulbright Scholarship. She has experience of teaching art and design at the undergraduate level, including coordinating the Department of Ceramics at IVS. Before becoming Director Graduate Studies, she was an Associate Professor in the Department of Fine Art. Sadia is developing the IVS graduate program, which is expected to be launched next year, inshallah. Ladies and gentlemen, 2018 marked as the year of the 25th Convocation, and the school planned events to celebrate this milestone with the help of academic activities. One such activity was a 3-day workshop, The Art of Reconstruction, specially organized by the Department of Fine Art and WASL for the benefit of plastic surgeons with the Australian artist Professor Michael Esson. Michael Esson brought his experience of Gray's School of Art, Aberdeen, Edinburgh College of Art, and Royal College of Art, London. This workshop focused on designing, drawing, and conceptualizing human figures to assist the plastic surgeons around Pakistan in their medical and professional activities. Another landmark activity to celebrate the 25th batch was organized when a group of 10 faculty members under Saveen Munir and Imrana Shahryar from the Department of Textile Design came together to put first ever IVS textile faculty show entitled Dehleez. Blending the lines between textile and fine art, these 10 mixed media artists demonstrated every branch of creativity, ranging from fashion designers to weavers to artists, furniture, designers, and more and more. Using the tools of their choice, these designers created narrative with textile design and its principles as the backbone of their works. A seminar titled Revisiting Shikarpur, Journey to the Vernacular Mansions of Sindh was organized by the Interior Design Department under the head of the department, Mahwish Ghulam Rasool. Using examples from Shikarpur, the seminar aimed to start a dialogue about the preservation of the rich cultural heritage and the need to conserve the contextual built heritage and environment. The seminar concluded on emphasizing a constant need to recycle, reuse, and restructure our built environment for its protection and sustainability. A collaborative project between IVS and San Diego Comic Con, Comic for Peace, was facilitated by Alumni Assistant Professor Alfia Halai and Assistant Professor Ammad Tahir in the Communication Design Department. Based on the initiative, 2 students from IVS were shortlisted for a fellowship for which they traveled to Lahore. Consequently, Alina Khwaja, a current third-year student and student council member, has been shortlisted for the San Diego Comic Con, where her comic will be displayed alongside other projects from Pakistan. During 2018, a great number of IVS faculty and alumni members have been invited to present papers and participate in conferences in China, Japan, Philippines, Germany, United Kingdom, Dubai, America, and Canada. IVS supports all such initiatives as part of its faculty's professional development. This year, the school has collaborated with Institute of Educational Development, Aga Khan University, to develop a certified teacher training on integrated course design in which around 16 faculty members participated. To commemorate the 25th Convocation year, IVS Admissions Campaign 2019 was especially conceived by alumni faculty, Associate Professor Tazeen Hussain, Laila, and Mr. Rashid Noorani of the CEP. This was entirely planned with the student body and observing and researching on the students' courses and curriculum within the Department of Communication Design. This was a way of paying tribute to the student body as opposed to alumni who have already made a name for themselves and been recognized now nationally and internationally. The idea was to highlight the challenging and creative works our students put forward as a culmination of their academic study at IVS, an experience which exposes them to multiple ways of looking at their environment and respond to it through their works. We found it to be a fitting tribute to the 25th year's celebration and 25 years of academics life in IVS. That is how it was reflected from the campaign. The continuing education program of Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, known as IVS CEP, has now grown and become a mature tree in the last 2.5 decades. It has gradually developed an exciting lineup of courses for adults interested in expanding personal interests, keeping pace with today's competitive workplace, or redirecting interests, careers, etc. The IVS CEP now offers almost 17 short certificate courses and 9 non-credited diploma courses in various fields, including interior decoration, visual media, film and photography, event management, fashion and textiles, soft skill studies, language arts, drawing and painting, liberal arts, and performing arts. In 2018, the program trained over 815 students under the leadership of Mr. Rashid Noorani. That includes 300 children in its very popular summer course. As part of the celebration, Mariam Abdullah Library organized its 3rd annual book fair, which is getting bigger and better every year. Writer Muniza Shamsi and Lynette Vikaji were invited as the keynote speakers. It was followed by an interesting panel discussion on the usage of libraries and the importance of libraries in the digital media. During 2018, IVS also completed its another landmark community services project, the Lignum Park on the right-hand side of this campus. Entire project was developed with the help of donations from Irfan Mauji Foundation, Samira Raja, Yasin Paracha, Sania Maskatia, Zeenat Aswar, Arshad Farooqi, and Shahab Ghani. The park was inaugurated by Associate Professor Hamir Sumro along with the neighborhood community. Lignum Park is designed by Assistant Professor Ira Kazi of the Department of Architecture under the Architecture Design Research Lab and its team. It is appropriate to mention that Indus Valley is maintaining now 3 parks to maintain the facility around its environment. During 2018, 2 of IVS key faculty members have retired. Associate Professor Hamir Sumro, who retired after serving for 15 years in the Department of Architecture. Associate Professor Muhammad Ali Khan, also formally retired after serving for 25 years. His last assignment included his role as the head of the Communication Design Department. It is important to highlight that IVS is reaching out to the marginalized communities, not only through its community services projects, but also with the help of its financial assistance and scholarship schemes, which is designed to support the education of financially challenged students. During 2018, the school provided rupees 15.3 million for this purpose to 89 students in the undergraduate program. The deficit of rupees 7.86 million in the beginning of 2018 was offset by the community support coming from Mr. Tawfiq Chinoy, Mr. Jalal Al-Karimi, Mr. Jumani, Peer Muhammad Diwan, Mr. Tawqir Mahajir. During the current year, earlier beneficiaries of the scheme refunded a record of rupees 3.4 million back to the Financial Assistance Fund. For 2019, the school has made a fresh commitment to 35 new students at a cost of rupees 7.23 million. Existing 74 students will continue to receive the support during the coming year. In the beginning, we have forecasted a deficit of rupees 9.42 million, or for that we will go back to the community for support. To further the concept of inclusive education and to bring students from all segments of society in a socially just manner, the school is fully committed to provide financial assistance scholarships to the financially weaker students who come from different parts of Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, IVS statutory bodies bring a lot of commitment and excitement to our day-to-day life. This year, 5 members will retire from the Board of Governors after completing their 3-year tenure. Dr. Ishrat Hussain, Ms. Samira Raja, Professor Shanaz Ismail, Mr. Farooq Rahimtullah, and architect Ramiz Beg. They will be replaced by the new members who will be inducted at the 27th Annual General Meeting of IVS Society, which is to be held in January this year. I am personally grateful to all the retiring members, particularly Dr. Ishrat Hussain, who is now also the advisor to the Prime Minister of Pakistan, for his valuable role as the Chairman Board of Governors for 3 years. I'm also grateful to Ms. Samira Raja, who has not only given her best and the quality time, but also very effectively provided operational support to the school as the Chairperson Executive Committee. At the end, I would like to congratulate beaming faces sitting on my right-hand side, who have the unique positioning in the history of IVS as they are graduating in the 25th Convocation. I wish them well for making a debut in real life. Please march ahead and make us proud. I would also like to acknowledge the hard work of a number of people who make this encyclopedic convocation possible. Imrana Shehriyar, Umar Rahman, Adila Suleiman, who looks and take care of the aesthetic side of the convocation. Umair Saeed and his team, the registrar and the academic office. Atif Suleiman and his entire administration team, particularly IVS gardeners, Ghulam Ali and his team, who now grow each and every plant inside this campus. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and once again, a very warm welcome to the historic moment in the life of IVS. Thank you.
The Dean of Academics of Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, Dr. Asma Abbas, will present the State of Academy.
It is overwhelming to witness this historical moment. I'm the Dean of Academics delivering the State of the Academy address, which will not be funny, sorry Faraji, or with exciting stories, and probably go a little longer than my colleagues have really begged it to be. So it will not be 5 minutes or 10 minutes. We'll try, so send me messages here. But also, please don't read the text that is in your folders, because I have just got a glaring typo in the first line. So maybe it's just like a kala tika, sort of to ward off the evil eye. So let's hope this goes all right. Giving the State of the Academy the morning after the passing of Dr. Javed Haider is a really sort of tenuous thing to do. In some ways, I should not be saying anything at all and let his legacy from 2 years ago, when he was last here delivering this address, stand. But there are things we have to do, and I'm here because we all have to be here and mark what he has done for us and where we're going to take what he started. I am a direct beneficiary of what he put in place. I stepped into his role, which is really, I can't even say I stepped in, I feel I'm barefoot. But 4.5 months I've been occupying the space of his office, using his computer, trying to look for clues inside his hard drive, that maybe he left me messages of some kind of how to be here and what not to do. Nagin has come to my office, and we've talked about the one box of books that are left over there. And so I've kept them as sorts of relics that perhaps they bless the space in a certain way. So I haven't, of course, found those clues, and we have never met. I met him 20 years ago at Penn State when I was a student at somebody's house. I don't think he even remembers me. But Indus owes him the very idea of the academy, right? In a certain explicit sense. It has been an academy, but he inaugurated the Dean of Academics position, and he's the first one to give this address, and I'm only the second. There are days, I have wondered why he left, and I've known why he left, but I wanted to know more, but I will never be able to ask him that. But what I do know is there will always be one Dr. Sahab at IVS, and that is him. So I believe that one either needs love or history to be able to write, and I imagine to create anything at all. Where both exist, it is amazing. And I'm seeing that around me in the convergence of what we behold today. From the founders who built this place and continue to come and verify its spirit, to you, the students, who are the reason for all of this, to your parents who let us have you. From the teachers who have touched hearts and minds, taught you how to hold pens and brushes, trained your hearts, your eyes and hands, and all your senses for being in this world and producing it anew from its own destruction that we see all around us. From the range of forces that make this place a home for so many of us, whether it is the tireless school leadership and management team, or the constant, or the calming presence, and this can't be overstated, of security guards without guns. Who have guns on their uniform but no guns in their hands. That's actually the greatest accomplishment of our time, is to have a gunless campus and feel their presence around us. Or the staff members whose small, quiet movements in and out of rooms in which we work becomes a strange kind of safety and a constant reciprocation of attention and a bearing witness. So thank you, everyone. I'm lucky to have arrived here myself, for only such a place can bear the ironic and syntactic burden of inviting someone back to their own home after being away from it for half of one's life, a homecoming that on often many days did not quite feel complete. IVS, those who imagined and built it, those who are its trustees, and those who inhabit it are all responsible for this homecoming and for its infectious sense of sanctuary that touched my family and me when we visited in January, and have also graciously absorbed the fraughtness of this journey home. Who knew of the delights of arriving in the fall, at the height of activity, stress, trauma, right? Anticipation that allows Indus to be full and bright today, sort of like all of what decorates and makes this place beautiful has been slowly coming into being for months and months. Like we've all been hanging around, putting up lights, polishing the family silver. Through all the theses, juries, studio dramas, impending doom, all of that, something life-affirming has happened. At least I have seen us become those who are speaking to each other, not as subordinates or line managers, as architects or designers or weavers or painters or sound artists, but as teachers and students. With history not on my side here, and with love being a difficult emotion to muster in times of great upheaval for even us Dil Phenk types, the love came from moving through the thesis show in the quiet hours of the morning, and only after seeing all of us together through that and at the symposium last week. Not for any other reason, except that these moments have exposed each of us to each other as educators in all the vulnerability and the power that word brings, who think about what they're doing, and that is what my community, my draw, and my pull is. I'm asked to report to you today as the guardian of the innermost sanctum of this institution, the basic building block, the relation between the teacher and the student, and everything that emerges from that, the issue of faculty and student lives, of curriculum and pedagogy, of research and practice, of classroom and studio, are all things that encircle and inform and inflect this fundamental relation. I can't tell you how many times Dean's Council has met more than they would have liked, and how patiently the department heads have put up with my need for thinking with other people and giving conversation a chance. How many searches we have done in fine art, CD, and LA, how many days faculty have spent in the admission process, how many times people have jumped in to do what was not their job to do because it needed to be done, how many students traveled to Shikarpur or Venice or Hunza or Islamabad, how many co-authored papers, documents, and books on architecture and textiles were put together, how many faculty went to Ithaca, not that Ithaca, the present Ithaca, to Heidelberg, to Istanbul, to Hunza, and to Murray. How many have collaborated with which rural support organization or urban planners? How many faculty were invited to reside, teach, design, curate, and jury elsewhere? How many students won design and architecture awards? How students have worried about their fellow classmates from outside the city and brought them to my office because they were worried they were alone? Which partner collective published This Is the Most Beautiful Books? What it takes to produce a journal called Hybrid, the second issue of which is out. Please take a look. And what it will take for us to get it peer-reviewed in an international journal. How faculty have followed student and alumni governance and organized themselves into a faculty council and held elections. How we have come together to design a childcare solution. How we hosted regulatory bodies and engaged with them with good cheer and seriousness. And how we were able to convince those who had never known us before that the studio is that fabulous place from which all judgments and assessments of education emerge, and not upon which we must apply alien ideas of evaluation and pedagogy. Which of our elders, some here, some not here, have enabled the coming together of art, design, and humanities institutions to form a collective space of thinking, self-reflection, and strategy. How we decided, given all the awards being given this year in celebration of the 25th Convocation, to shift the awards process for teaching and also now research, practice, and mentorship for faculty and staff to a new cycle in the spring. But I will let you discover those things yourself when you talk to someone today. Or we should do a better job with our website. I should not be telling you those things. So anyway, so I could tell you that we will start a graduate program and collaboratively build a summer institute with others. I could tell you which dialogues have been picked up midstream and which have been revived, and how we think IVS has more tiny wings to spread, and it will grow in a different way than many people expect. I could tell you there's always a chance to align with those who seemed distant for a while, and that there's a life beyond credits and credit hours. I could tell you how often Student Council has fixed problems no one knows they fixed, gone around asking students about what they need, how they act like advocates without getting any credit, and how they're partaking in making our decisions even more student-centered than they have been. I could tell you that they're awesome and earnest, and Student Council needs to be strengthened, and that we're building structures for student support and for outreach and new partnerships, some of whom are here, and that the number of students and faculty we're sending out in the world to bring the world back in with them is on the rise. I don't trust myself with numbers. I'm a pure mathematician. So in the 30th year of this institution, I'm likely to lose count and mess up for every name I would take has multiple names enfolded within it. I just want you to trust me that I have faces in my head and pulsing through my veins as I say all these things, and I want you to be able to trust that as well and find the people around you. Of all the people, we know here the limits of what is said and can be said. So yes, here is this person with no claim to history, comparable to almost everyone here except for Salahuddin's daughter, Jessica's daughter, and Umar in HR. I'm the newest, truly. And bits of irrational love that make up the difference, telling you that the state of academy is all right. We are luckily not smug, not shielded from realities, not unself-aware of our presumptions and when they must change, not too confident in our processes to think they cannot be better. We aren't too tired yet, we're only 30, to think that what we spent months or years to put in place cannot be let go of or made into something even new that is born of it, but may not look like it at first glance. Nor are we too immature to not know that there's a time for everything, and things emerge when they do, and forcing them or rushing them often leaves a memory of flaws inside. Right? Nor too inhuman to assume we cannot change course or thesis topic or plan after committing to something. And I do not mean U-turns. IVS is home for people like me because here we get a shot at messing up and doing something right again, of the luxury of abundance and the boredom, right? Boredom, which produces beauty and wonder and solutions to others' problems, of a chance to let us think of use versus function, versus need, when we think of who our work is about and who it is serving. It allows us leaps of faith with something to hold us when we fall, that safety net that is increasingly tattered or absent in most other spaces outside of academic institutions, and even then, in today's academic institutions, only if you're very lucky. Education, and I believe art education, principally defies scarcity and austerity as principles of life or government, for it often produces a lot out of nothing, and it often defeats the calculus of efficiency in thinking about resources. After all, the day we start to require students to measure their thesis needs according to how much paint and how much thread they anticipate to use and waste, right? And how many ideas will be allowed to be bad ones before a good one comes, and for us to think of the feasibility of critical thinking at a conservatory, we should go home, right? But that's just me, and I can say this because of what IVS enables, and what my mind and heart are trained to glean about institutions, even if I have no history with them. In just being here and existing, Indus, even with its limitations, stands for plenty amid lack, and for generosity amid shrinking hearts. Hopefully, it will continue to do so, and you have to help us. As much as it is excellent designers, artists, and architects who are walking out in the world today, each of them knows education intimately than most people who have the luck of being educated. Few people have been transformed so physically, viscerally, and sensorially than you have, just by nature of what you sought out to learn. Others who have missed out on this don't know what they have missed. Hence, their judgments of worth, success, and feasibility are tied also to a lack of imagination and education they cannot help. But you have to show them and teach them, young or old, with kindness. Our smallness, our coziness, our complaints of space, our lacks of funds, our blessings. Our problems are our blessings, and artists and designers know what that means. But perhaps I can say that because my job is not everybody else's job. While so much work in this world is only a means to life, institutions are interesting in themselves because they never stop thinking of what life is, what life to affirm, what to build, what to capacitate. It is never just a vision written out and put away in a file. It is one that has to be built and strung together often every morning, even when the classroom seems a space of sadness rather than joy, and the studio space of withholding and contortion rather than unfolding oneself. Once we enter these spaces, we commit to producing a reality that is not merely an extension of life as it unfolds outside. Hence, how we inherit and acknowledge our relation and response to that reality is of supreme importance. The real world out there is nothing to die for. Take my word for it. One might say, but what we build here and what is entrusted to us as artists, writers, thinkers, designers, and teachers has to produce something one might want to live for. It is those moments that often send us back to thinking, what life are we building here? What special mandate we are given to make something possible? And if we even consider our jobs as mere jobs. Why on earth would there be an endless flow of people coming to be jurors? Why would board members otherwise spend hours decoding one line of a balance sheet, or someone spending evenings calculating credit hours and lists of applicants? All this just to make that smallest unit of our organism, that coming together of teacher and student, possible. Today, a day which is also called commencement abroad, right, brings beginnings and closures in one place, but with a special responsibility to not overlook the process for the product, the struggle for the result, the study for the artwork, the sketchbook for the canvas, the drafts for the models. The 25th Convocation, this kind of recommitment from us to you and from you to this world holds special meaning because we stand at a time where the academy is far from a simple or safe category whom no one cares about, right? They used to let us be alone, but now we matter, so it's a problem. But its structure as an industry for those who work here and those who study here is becoming evident and showing signs in our lives. What is to be celebrated about art and design, education, is the long resistance to those easy categories of value and production, efficiency and execution, because we are often the ones taking time to do what others have no idea takes any time to do. In this sense, this academy, our academy, has a special role in determining the shape of what ways we will work and produce, create and destroy, think and apply, know and be known. So I believe that in this 30th year, our work of assessing ourselves is not only looking back or looking forward to a vision in the books, but of explaining and translating for others the premise of that vision, to contribute to leadership in thinking about art and design education, research, and practice. This requires not only making plans and strategies, but indulging imagination and risk, not unlike when it was begun. Along with the situation that is different today, which is that we can no longer assume the habits of heart and intellect that might have been fair presumptions when you started what you did. But where else might these habits have the best chance at being even signaled to, but at a place where the aesthetic and the functional, the thinking and the doing, the making and the learning, self-knowledge and vulnerability to others' judgment all happen at once in ways that are not often easy and often hard to even understand when we are going through it. This is why we are the ones who teach taking time and the relations between things that everyone else seems to have given up on, which is why I feel not only that IVS needs to extend itself later into people's lives, here's looking at you, graduate program, but also earlier in the life of this city and its people. We're not merely educating in the techniques of arts, design, and aesthetic judgment, but in the full burdens of aesthetics as a philosophical and political realm, the arts teaching us something different about education at large and what it entails. These are lessons far forgotten by those who think that knowledge is produced only in certain ways, that facts carry labels on themselves or need the expert to decide, that truth is based on data or decided by a self-appointed jury. When we lament the loss of truth, but shed no tear about our dwindling capacity to make meaning with others, that is at the core of any society and its healthy politics, we are missing more than half the story. So, well, who am I to resolve the crises of truth in these times? Well, I do know that unless we confront this issue with unconventional ways of thinking about the inherited binaries between art and science, fact and value, and truth and meaning, we will not be able to fight what we think we are fighting. And nowhere but in the worlds of art and design is the making of knowledge and the production of human sensibility most promising in these times. Because we also learn here, on good days, not only what is knowable, but also what it is to know. Not only what is truth, but also how to sense and feel it, and what forms it might take. The promise of an institution like IVS at this time is not merely the production of more successful curators and artists by any conventional sense of the term, though that is going to happen anyway, or of the next great architect as the hero, that will also happen, but the preservation in some ways of those ways of knowing that are off the grid for most people who run this world or who have taken upon themselves to interpret it for us. In your work, your students, from your views of Karachi or your relation to threads, from your articulation of what memory is and how power and love move inside spaces or on surfaces, your desire to preserve languages and your desire to show, not tell, your desire to write something in a new way, your desire to speak softly or be silent in a world that is constantly deafened by noise, and your meticulous relation to the model and those tiny embellishments and choices of color on a shawl or an architectural model, your thinking about decay and rejuvenation, your recitations of words and your self-portraits that are not yours. I think we have what is not there in any number of other forms of education. You are showing us the meaning of meaning, unsuspected by those who own the formulae of truth in politics and life in general. And you're showing us how we can retain the power to judge or give it over to others. This isn't knowledge as usual. This isn't thinking or making as usual. So please keep at it for all our sakes. In a world where truth matters very little, we have to show how to make meaning. That will not happen without you. We might just make a new world while others are not paying attention. Congratulations. Thank you. I will leave in a second, I promise. It is my distinct honor, pleasure, delight, yes, everything, to introduce someone who needs no introduction, right? I had to throw the cliche, but to introduce someone who has infected our imaginations of what education is, what art is, where poetics and aesthetics live, where their death is feared, and how we have to come back from that brink time and again, remembering some lessons we have been taught. She embodies the truths that will not be sung in any national anthem, but are necessary to always be present there. So anyway, Salima Hashmi is an artist, curator, and contemporary art historian. This is just a bio. You know her, but I have to do this. Professor Hashmi was the founding dean of the Mariam Dawood School of Visual Art and Design at Beacon House, National University, Lahore. She was professor of fine art at the National College of Art, Lahore, and also principal of the college. She has written extensively on the arts. Her book, Unveiling the Visible, Lives and Works of Women Artists of Pakistan, was published in 2002. And another, Memories, Myths, Mutations, Contemporary Art of India and Pakistan, co-authored with Yashodhara Dalmia, came out in 2006. She has also edited The Eye Still Seeks, Contemporary Art of Pakistan. Professor Hashmi, I feel so bad like reading this list because there's no list good enough, so that could be exhaustive. But I will say these things. Professor Hashmi curated Hanging Fire, an exhibition of Pakistan contemporary art for Asia Society Museum, New York in 2009, accompanied by an extensive catalog. She curated the critically acclaimed exhibition titled This Night Written Dawn, hosted by Gujral Foundation and the Devi Art Foundation in Delhi, which opened on the occasion of the Delhi Art Fair 2016. She has recently curated a group show of Indian and Pakistani artists, Pale Sentinels, at Icon Gallery, New York, where Mrs. Ismail and Atila had also gone. She was awarded the President's Medal for Pride of Performance for Art Education in 1999 by the government of Pakistan. She is a council member of the Human Rights Commission of Pakistan. The Australian Council of Art and Design Schools nominated her an inaugural International Fellow for Distinguished Service to Art and Design Education in 2011. She holds an honorary doctorate by Bath Spa University and the title of Professor Emeritus at Beacon House National University. We are humbled and fortunate to have her with us. Please welcome Professor Salima Hashmi.
Dr. Ishrat Hussain, members of the Executive Board and members of the Board of Governors, founders of the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, faculty, parents, first graduating class, and most recent graduating class. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a great privilege to be invited to speak to you, the bright eyes and bushy tails of the architecture, art, and design worlds to be. And I'm going to make the most of this opportunity. It is, after all, a captive audience. The operative word here is captive, because I want to talk to you about freedoms, specifically artistic freedoms, which is the freedom to imagine, to create, to distribute diverse cultural expression, free of governmental censorship, political interference, or the presence of non-state actors. It includes the rights of all citizens to have access to the work of artists and designers of the built environment for the well-being of our society. I've just quoted you the UNESCO Covenant on Artistic Freedoms, to which Pakistan is a signatory. But Pakistan is very adept at signing things in the international arena, seemingly keen to fulfill international obligations, and then equally good at forgetting all about it as soon as the ink is dry. I don't know if you've noted, but perhaps your parents and grandparents have, that there are strange things happening all around us. My preferred newspaper is under a dark cloud, and the TV channel. It is being strangulated. Its writers are being threatened by the courts, if they are lucky, or by disappearance and violence, if they are not so fortunate. An artist had his books burnt in a printing press in Karachi recently, where they had gone for binding. Someone decided that an artist's book transgressed some boundary in his mind. Have you heard about it? No, of course not. Who would speak out? Who has the freedom to? Which artist would complain? Which newspaper would print the news? Who has transgressed against whom? What are these freedoms anyway? Since when do we have them? And why should we have them? And why should we care? As in 1918, this year, 2018, marks the end of a very long century when we find basic values in flux. The future is very likely to be very different from the past. The challenge in such times is to ensure that the values we cherish go forward into the new age. One of these values, increasingly in question, is that of freedom of expression. It is useful to consider again, in this age, why this value in particular is questioned, and why the answer must always be to preserve it and defend it. No one says freedom is bad. So why has it become a challenge? What's the problem? The answers take us to the heart of the human condition. The challenge concerning freedom is really a truth about human reality that many find unpalatable. Fundamental human values which we cherish are incompatible and in contradiction. Freedom, for example, is incompatible with equality. This is clearest in the economic arena, where the freedom of some has to be circumscribed to benefit the many. The greatest issue is that freedom is at loggerheads with collective identity in any form. This may be patriotism, religious belief, or sexuality. In each case, a collective group, for its own comfort, requires conformity and an unquestioning acceptance of a certain history or facts or habits. The exercise of freedom requires questioning of each one of these. As artists, this uncomfortable and inevitable contradiction is a good thing. If all human values were logically compatible, human affairs would be a mathematical enterprise. It would be possible for mathematicians or economists to optimize, that is, to create a logical, perfect society. But that's not reality. Contradictions are embedded in our lives. In the surge of patriotism, ethnic religious minorities will be under scrutiny. In heterosexual majorities, there will be different inclinations. No matter what set of values are adopted, there will be dissent, opposition, alienation, and reinvention for those left out. To explore all these valleys and pathways is part of the humanistic and artistic endeavor. And it's never ending. Whatever new majorities and certainties emerge, there will always be a cherished set of values, all equally human, that will be left out and downplayed and will pulsate with the desire to express themselves. I believe that there is a circle around each person where an outside force may not enter for any reason, even for the collective good. That's you, private. Even for the good of the individual concerned. To try and break into that space, to distort and disfigure the essential nature of the human being. Religions recognize this, for example, by leaving people answerable for themselves, rather than requiring enforcement, even though Maulanas would like us to believe otherwise. Each one of us is answerable. Modern technology is infringing this circle in unprecedented ways, giving rise to waves of rage, anger, and above all, loneliness, and making each human being's innermost circle more and more constricted and in great jeopardy. Instead, we need to widen that circle, the private circle of freedom, which makes us all human, our defining element, the most basic of our rights. So how do we as citizens in what we hope will one day be a more humane society, begin this task? Firstly, by noticing where there are roadblocks to the pursuit of personal expression. By daring to examine and respond to the pain of individuals who try to provide us with facts and information and are stopped from doing their jobs. By thinking about policies and measures which will promote and produce artistic freedoms and other freedoms. A high-profile artist from amongst us who exhibited both here and abroad shared her own experience with me. She said, "I've always felt that I had the freedom of expression to say or make whatever I wanted to, only to realize that the environment does not always guarantee such freedom. Once my artwork was rejected for inclusion in the Muslim festival in Swansea because it had the potential of being considered inappropriate by the audience. And yet the same artwork was displayed in a public gallery in Pakistan with no negative reaction." She went on to say, "I also felt the implications when I made some art objects for a public art performance in 2003, which I took to Minare, Pakistan on 14th August. I saw Jaish-e-Mohammed, a religious militant group, conducting a huge jalsa at the venue. My work was critical of these militants, and I had to change the performance so it wouldn't grab their attention. My act of changing it made me realize that actually my freedom of expression was relative and subject to the freedom of expression of others. I've seen many instances in our street politics where our expression is curbed, censured, and controlled by the state. Now, every society and every citizen in a society has a contract with the state. So consider, how do we demand that our parliament legislates to protect each of us? Not as handouts, but as our basic rights. Recognizing that each and every one of us is different, precious, human. For a moment, I want to remember an individual, one of ours, who engaged in a lifelong battle for exactly this, to ensure that each one of us is aware of and can claim our freedoms. Asma Jahangir fought for our freedom to write, to sing, to dance, to act, and to express ourselves. Together with many others, she was in the thick of the struggle for cultural rights for the voiceless. Those who give a voice to our silence, our suffering, our quiet anguish, the poets, the writers, the music makers, the image inventors, the dreamers who craft, mold, and shape new worlds. Let us empower them to imagine and their inner circles to be kept safe unto themselves. I would specifically like to address the young women here. Historically, it is your inner circle which is eroded and ignored and given up easily, in the belief that perhaps it's not yours to own. You are ordained, you are told to bow to the collective good, to carry forth its demands and restraints. You are ever watchful of censure, ever prepared to succumb and be packaged. मुलायम गरम समझौते की चादर, ये चादर मैंने बरसों में बुनी है, कहीं भी सच के गुलबूटे नहीं हैं, किसी भी झूठ का टांका नहीं है. So spoke Zahra Nigah, so wistfully of our compromises. Just as Kishwar Naheed called out, ये हम गुनाहगार औरतें हैं जो अहले जुब्बा की तमकिनत से ना रोब खाएं, ना जान बेचें, ना सर झुकाएं, ना हाथ जोड़ें. But remember Fahmida Riaz, who left us a few weeks ago, who reminded us in her poem, पथरीले कोहसार के गाते चश्मों में गूंज रही है एक औरत की नर्म हंसी. दौलत, ताकत और शोहरत सब कुछ भी नहीं, इसके बदन में छुपी है इसकी आज़ादी. A very long time ago, it was in the last century, there was a little girl wearing a pink satin suit who was entrusted with handing out a pile of books, one at a time, to a room full of people. The book was Daste Sabah, The Fingers of the Morning Breeze, and it was the work of the poet Faiz, a newly published collection of poetry written in prison in Hyderabad, not too far from here. A proud little girl handing out poetry. She didn't know it was anything special, just a book. But as people opened it and began to read, the atmosphere became electric. She saw grown men weeping. Suddenly she knew here was something special. The words were special. They had flown out from behind the high walls that encircled her father. Words were free, and they could be where he could not. And that's the crux of the matter. Thus the need to silence the voice, erase the words, keep them from you, the reader. The imperative to destroy the image or blind those who dare to see, which is what brings me back to you. In whose eyes and hearts and minds we invest our hopes. Sharpen those minds. Make those eyes ever watchful against those who come drawing curtains and veils around you, and decide where the red lines are. Keep your heart strong, able to hear the singer's song and the poet's call. Matahe loho kalam chin gayi to kya gham hai? If ink and pen are snatched from us, shall I, who have dipped my finger in my heart's blood, complain? کہ خون دل میں ڈبولی ہیں انگلیاں میں نے, زباں پہ مہر لگی ہے تو کیا, کہ رکھ دی ہے ہر ایک حلقۂ زنجیر میں زباں میں نے. So, as you go out into the worlds which are yours to construct, embellish and make beautiful and meaningful, not just for yourself, but for all of us and those who will follow, ask yourself, just how free would you like to be? To imagine, to create, to achieve your potential. How will you secure those freedoms which allow you, each one of you, to be as expressive as you were born and trained to be? And how long and how hard will you be willing to fight and to speak out, to care enough, so that all of us can enjoy the fruits of your creativity for all time to come. Long live our freedoms, and long may you live to fight the good fight. Good Lady Luck be with you, and Godspeed.
I request the Dean of Academics, Dr. Asma Abbas, to escort the Chairman of the Board of Governors, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, to the front of the stage for award of degrees.
Assistant Professor Muhammad Sami Anwar Chauhan, Acting Head, Department of Architecture, will read the citations and present the candidates from the Department of Architecture to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for award of degrees.
Sir Chairman, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Architecture in the Faculty of Architecture, to which I pray they be admitted.
Governors of this school, I admit you to your respective degrees and charge you that in the conduct of your life and your conversation and deeds, you do prove yourselves worthy of the same.
Amina Amir, Amina Sumro, Aisha Shah, Ali Salman Rashdi, Anusha Minaz, passed with distinction in final research paper. Farwa Mahmood, passed with distinction in final research paper. Hafsa Asad, passed with distinction in final research paper. Hina Noor, passed with distinction in final research paper. Leona Trudy Ann Campos, passed with distinction in final research paper. Mas bin Qasim, Maham Ahmed, passed with distinction in final research paper. Mawasha Shahab, passed with distinction in final research paper. Malahat Ali, passed with distinction in final research paper. Mashood Ali Maqsood, Nirmal Mansoor, Safalta Kumari, Sanaullah Aban, Shabano Popolzai, Sayyid Hamza Ali, Sayyida Shahpara Shah, Taha Iqbal, pass with overall distinction. Usama Ashraf Hassan, Ushna Rais, Wajiha Ashraf, and Zishan Mughal.
Assistant Professor Mehwish Ghulam Rasool, Acting Head, Department of Interior Design, will read the citations and present the candidates from the Department of Interior Design to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Sir Chairman, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Interior Design in the Faculty of Architecture, to which I pray they be admitted. Starting up with Anasuddin, Anila Kazi, Fatima Azim, Hafsa Siddiqui, Javeria Siddiqui, Junaid Salim Ahmad, pass with distinction in thesis. Kiran Imran, pass with distinction in thesis. Nehal Yasin, Nurulain Sohail, Pira Muzaffar Sheikh.
Associate Professor Muhammad Ali Khan, Head, Department of Communication Design, will read the citations and present the candidates from the Department of Communication Design to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Sir Chairman, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Communication Design in the Faculty of Design, to which I pray they be admitted. Alize Sultan Jung, Amal Nadeem Alam, pass with distinction in thesis. Amani Wakar Pangawala, Amna Tahir, pass with distinction in final research paper. Anushe Tausif, Ariba Mariam, pass with distinction in thesis. Atif Ashraf Momin, Fakra Tariq Motan, pass with overall distinction. Humaira Alvi, pass with distinction in thesis. Javeria Khoso, Maruf Fatma Merchant, pass with distinction in thesis. Memuna Ewan, منال ندیم, مریم فرید, وشال یعقوب پیچی, محمد فہد مرزا, منیبہ آغا, مومل راجر, محدثہ شہزاد, pass with overall distinction. رازیہ ندیم رجب علی, pass with distinction in final research paper. Rahada Tajwar Zaidi, pass with distinction in thesis, distinction in final research paper and overall distinction. Sania Khalid, pass with distinction in final research paper. Sumair Masroor, Sayyida Sila Mehdi, pass with distinction in final research paper. Ureba Hamid Batra, pass with distinction in final research paper. Zoreen Khwaja, pass with distinction in final research paper.
Associate Professor Imrana Shahriyar, Head, Department of Textile Design, will read the citations and present the candidates from the Department of Textile Design to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Sir Chairman, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for a 4-year diploma in textile design and a 4-year degree of Bachelor of Textile Design in the Faculty of Design, to which I pray they be admitted. Aisha Rafiq, Diploma in Textile Design. Bushra Sikandar. Fariha Fatma Nanjiani. Farheen Abrar, pass with distinction in thesis. Hamna Aslam. Hira Ali. Lareb Khan, pass with overall distinction. Linta Afandi. Madina Mahmood. Mahnoor Raza Abbasi, pass with distinction in thesis, distinction in final research paper, and overall distinction. Mehek Imtiaz. Mumal Palijo. Namra Ali. Neha Nadeemur Rahman. Umayma Sohail Nasir. Priyanka Sablani. Qudsiya Abbas. Ramal Sayyed. Roba Rauf. Saman Rahman. Soema Fatma. Tuba Akbar. Tuba Naveed Usmani. Tuba Tabassum.
Associate Professor Adila Suleiman, Head, Department of Fine Art, will read the citations and present the candidates from the Department of Fine Art to the Chairman of the Board of Governors for the award of degrees.
Sir Chairman, I present to you the students who have been examined and have qualified for the degree of Bachelor of Fine Art in the Faculty of Fine Art, to which I pray they be admitted. Abir Arshad. Ana Ali Kazmi. Ansha Mehman. Aksa Khan Nasser, passed with distinction in thesis. Asim Muhammad Amin, passed with distinction in thesis. Aisha Ali, passed with distinction in thesis, distinction in final research paper, and overall distinction. Aisha is also the recipient of Sher Asfandiar Khan Cash Award of Rs 50,000 for the academic excellence in fine art. Hassan Aslam. Haya Ispahani. Javeria Shoaib. Kiran Salim. Mahnoor Qazi. Muzna Ghufran Roghe. Osama Rahman Khan. Sadia Safdar. Sahal Shoaib Motiwala, passed with distinction in thesis. Saleha Moin Qureshi. Samra Kamran Mekri, passed with distinction in thesis. Shanza Khan. Shehzadi Kainat Ayub. Sundas Ehsan. Tuba Shahbaz Sheikh. Yusra Taqi Allahwala, passed with distinction in final research paper. Zoya Arshad Farooqi, passed with distinction in thesis and overall distinction. Zoya is also the recipient of Sher Asfandiar Khan Cash Award of Rs 50,000 for academic excellence in fine art.
The Registrar will request the Chairman, Board of Governors for acceptance of the degrees and escort the Chairman to the rostrum. With the graduating students, please rise to receive your acceptance.
May I request the Chairman Board of Governors to accept the candidates to their respective degrees.
By virtue of the authority vested in me as the Chairman Board of Governors of this school, I admit you to your respective degrees and charge you that in the conduct of your life and your conversation and deeds, you do prove yourselves worthy of the same. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Dr. Ishrat Hussain.
I request the Executive Director, Ms. Samina Rais Khan, to accompany our honored guest, Professor Salima Hashmi, who will present the awards in different categories.
I now request Associate Professor Zarmeena Shah, Head of the Liberal Arts Program, to announce the recipient of Dr. Salimuzzaman Siddiqui Award.
Instituted in memory of Dr. Salimuzzaman Siddiqui, this award is conferred upon a student of the graduating class for carrying out outstanding research in the final research paper. With a distinction in the final research paper, the recipient of the 2018 Dr. Salima Zaman Siddiqui Award is Manur Raza Abbasi from the Department of Textile Design.
The Abu Shamim Arif Award, sponsored by the Foundation of the Museum of Modern Art, FOMA, is instituted in memory of Abu Shamim Arif and given to the graduating student for the best research in the Department of Fine Art. The award carries a cash prize of Rs 20,000. The Abu Shamim Arif Award for the year 2018 goes to Aisha M. Ali.
The Agha Hassan Abdi Award, sponsored by the Infaq Foundation, is instituted in memory of Agha Hassan Abdi. This award is given to the graduating student of Architecture Department who has achieved the highest overall cumulative GPA. The award from this year carries a cash prize of Rs 200,000 with a cumulative GPA of 3.44. The 2018 Agha Hassan Abdi Award goes to Taha Iqbal.
The Zahurul Akhlaq Award, instituted in memory of the renowned artist Zahurul Akhlaq, is awarded to the best drawing portfolio of a graduating student in the Department of Fine Art. The 2018 Zahurul Akhlaq Award goes to Aisha M. Ali.
Tharyani Award for Architectural Design Excellence has been initiated in recognition of the countless years of service to architectural practice and architectural education by the Tharyani family of architects. This award will be given to a graduating student of architecture with the highest cumulative grade point average in 8 design studios following the foundation program. It carries a cash prize of Rs 50,000 along with a certificate of appreciation for achieving a CGPA of 3.47 in architecture design studios. This award goes to Amna Amir.
Thank you, Professor Salima Hashmi, for giving these awards.
Distinction awards are given to graduating students who have achieved a cumulative grade point average of 3.25 and above. This year, 8 students will receive this award. The chairman of the Board of Governors, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, is requested to present these awards.
The distinction awards are presented in ascending order of CGPA. Muhaddisa Shehzad, Department of Communication Design with a CGPA of 3.26. Zoya Arshad Farooqi, Department of Fine Art with a CGPA of 3.29. Mahnur Raza Abbasi, Department of Textile Design with a CGPA of 3.30. Fakhra Tariq Motin, Department of Communication Design with a CGPA of 3.32. Rahada Tajwar Zaidi, Department of Communication Design with a CGPA of 3.34. Taha Iqbal, Department of Architecture with a CGPA of 3.44. Lareb Khan, Department of Textile Design with a CGPA of 3.49. Finally, for achieving the highest GPA of 3.52, the Distinction and Valedictorian Award goes to Aisha M. Ali of the Department of Fine Art.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Ishrat Hussain. The valedictorian, Aisha M. Ali, will now present her valedictory speech.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Respected founders of IVS, our keynote speaker, Professor Salima Hashmi, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, Chairperson of Board of Governors, Ms. Samira Raja, Chairperson of Executive Committee, Ms. Samina Rais Khan, Executive Director, Dr. Asma Abbas, Dean of Academics, teachers, staff members, parents, and most importantly, my fellow graduates. My name is Aisha Ali and I'm from the Department of Fine Arts, and I'm humbled to be standing here and speaking to all of you on behalf of the graduating class of 2018. I'm sure most of us came to Indus Valley with many different aspirations. Now, on the threshold of being conferred the status of alumni, leaving our identities behind as students, I cannot help but look at the past 4 years with a mixture of fondness and dread. In the beginning, it was quite overwhelming because every day we were faced with new challenges. Every other week, we were required to work with a new medium and on a quite divergent concept too. We were asked to be ceramists one day and were also asked to work like a fabric designer the next. We were feeling lost and helpless, and I think most of us can agree with that. But I think that feeling of lost and that apprehension changed slowly once we kind of joined our departments, for the most of us, if not all. Combination of these skills that we acquired in the foundation year brought us face to face with the realization that we were not only to become visual artists, illustrators, designers, filmmakers, and architects, but were also to be able to contribute something to the society as well. We have all had the privilege of studying at an institution which not only allowed us to follow our passions, but also taught us values which helped shape our character. This place provided me with opportunities and transformed me into a better version of myself. Each of us found a home at IVS for the past 4 years. It challenged, encouraged, and embraced our concerns. It had been a space which taught us the importance of exchanging ideas and our thoughts. I still remember the day when I first came here 4 years ago, when I came here for the interview, and I was just wondering that, how a medical student like me was just able to come here and, how will I join this cultured and, thinking tribe. At that time, what art meant to me was just to draw well, but mostly related to my academic subjects, which was biology. I used to draw the diagrams, but that was it. Only at IVS, I came to understand that art meant to convey messages and also to facilitate an understanding in a very cultural, political, and social context. Entering this proverbial real world, most of us have to choose a field we want to pursue, but sometimes it is quite difficult to decide. For many of us, there is this misconception that if you cannot do anything else, so basically you become an artist. However, being in it and, facing it myself, I have realized that, this field requires as much dedication as any other. It is an uphill battle and requires a lot of struggle and constant effort to stay in it. So, I have learned that the process or the journey is more important than the end product, and also because there is no final destination, and there's no also formula that we all can follow. Each of us were taught in IVS to express ourselves by also exploring ourselves before. And that's the only way, at the end of the day, that our work that we do and we have learned to do will be of any value, and which can be rewarded or appreciated by your audience and yourself at the end of the day. While having a degree is considered a ticket to job or making a living, we, as recipients of an education that has also emphasized thinking, should feel accountable for generating new dialogues about the contemporary issues at hand. We can agree that the research paper demanded a lot of us, and it even felt frustrating at times because we were lost, and sometimes it was hard to just submit the assignment on time. But in the end, we can all acknowledge and the rewarding element of it, and that the research paper encouraged cross-disciplinary and critical understanding of our own concerns. It taught us how to analyze and streamline our own thought process before even putting out there for the world to see it. Considering that the visual art is a universal language and its ability to cross borders, cultures with minimum taboos and filters, we are at an advantage that we can pursue our passions without borders. Art has that capacity and flexibility to touch upon diverse and sensitive issues like visibility, privacy, gender roles, and social identity. It can also reflect upon political issues and really shape the discussion around all kinds of issues, as a matter of fact, big or small, controversial, or maybe dinner table worthy. There is an African proverb that says, "It takes a village to raise a child," which I think is so true for the students of IVS. Each of us is here today because of the endless support from our family, friends, and teachers. I met some of the most amazing artists, such talented people being part of the fine arts community. One of them obviously being Ms. Adila Suleiman, our head of department. She's a person who has helped us at every hurdle. She stood by us whenever we needed, and she herself leads an example by doing many things amazingly. Sometimes she even loomed larger than life and seemed a single-person army. We can agree to that. I also am grateful to Sir Muhammad Zishan for giving thorough critique, and Dr. Asma Mundrawala for her constant guide and encouragement in both research and studio practice. Ms. Seher Naveed and Ms. Seema Nusrat for teaching me to use drawing as a tool to think and form an idea parallel to writing. Also grateful to Ms. Sadia Salim for her precious advice and counseling on my dissertation. A big thanks to Sir Umar Wasim, Sir Fazal Rizvi, Ms. Althea Thauberger, and Ms. Manije Ali for believing in my potential. I have reached where I am today with their invaluable support. Most importantly, I would also like to thank my parents, my siblings, and all the parents in the audience. Thank you for supporting us, for believing in us, and enduring our tantrums all the time. IVS has left us with a plethora of memories, many of which have blurred thanks to the sleepless nights that we have all spent on the campus. After Ehsan Bhai and Usman Bhai have given up on us, and even after that, we leave campus in our aprons and in our pajamas, looking homeless, basically. Looking homeless because we can't afford self-care, since all our money is owed to Munir Bhai, who after much cajoling was kind enough to give us material on udhar. आपका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया मुनीर भाई, और आपका भी एहसान भाई कि आपने हमें सेफ्टी दी, आपने हमारी सिक्योरिटी का ख्याल रखा. अब्दुल, जिन्होंने हमें इंस्पायर किया, और रईस भाई ने हमें गाइड किया, इमरान ने हमारे थीसिस को डॉक्यूमेंट किया, और जावेद ने ऑर्गेनाइज किया, और हबीब ने हम सब के काम को क्रिटिक किया. आप सबका बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया, और आपका भी नानजी और उनकी टीम, बादल, अली, साजिद, जॉनसन भाई, एंड ऑल द एकेडमिक एंड टेक्निकल स्टाफ who were always there for us. हम आपके बगैर ये काम नहीं कर पाते, बिल्कुल भी नहीं. Thank you to my friends Zoya, Tuba, Usama, Asim, Sundas, Mumal, Areb, Madina, and all my classmates who I'm not mentioning right now, who were always there for the moral support. In the end, I would just like to say that we as a creative community can produce engaging works with more compassion, agreement, and collaboration with our fellow friends, pursuing other fields of knowledge. There is a need for us to collectively evolve as a society, which I feel that can only happen if we are more tolerant, we are more accepting, and practice empathy for each other. I hope that the work we do will help people in not so obvious but definitely more meaningful ways. I personally believe that many of you will ultimately excel and bring change one way or another. Something that I learned over the years is to produce work that you like and just be the first audience of your work, and then expect others to disagree or agree with it. And even if you're alone in that agreement, then my question is that does that really matter? Because we should remember that we were trained as artists. We were trained to think outside the box, to paint a different perspective. Therefore, it is kind of our job description to go against the grain. We are all creative minds and we work with imagination. So yes, if we can imagine our futures bright, then we can also create it. Once again, I would like to congratulate the graduating batch. We have made it.
I now request the Executive Director, Ms. Samina Rais Khan, to make the announcement for the Founders Award.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Founders Award is presented to a graduating student who has not only excelled in his or her academic performance, but who also showed a strong commitment to the school and the chosen profession, participated in co-curricular activities within and outside the school, has been humble, open-minded, mature in dealings with faculty members and with fellow students. In other words, this award gives recognition to the graduate who most closely reflects the philosophy of the school as envisaged by the founders. May I request one of the founders, Mr. Hamid N. Jafar, of the Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, to come to the stage for presenting the Founders Award. This year's award goes to Asim Muhammad Amin from the Department of Fine Art.
Professor Salima Hashmi Sahiba, Dr. Ishrat Hussain Sahab, Samira Raja Sahiba, Board और EC के मेम्बरान, alumni, ख़वातीन और हज़रात, graduates और तुलबा, अस्सलाम वालेकुम। मैं समीना खान साहिबा और IVS के इंतज़ामिया का बेहद मशकूर हूँ कि उन्होंने ये एज़ाज़ आज 25 साल बाद मुझे दोबारा ढेर सारे प्यार और शफ़क़त के साथ नवाजा। शुक्रिया। प्रोफेसर हाशमी और डॉक्टर इशरत हुसैन साहब के खिदमात کا میں کیا بیان کروں، سچے ہیروں کی طرح چمکتے ہیں۔ آج ڈین آف ایکیڈیمکس آسما عباس کی باتوں کو سن کر مجھے یقین ہے کہ یہ باغ جو 9 اصلی فاؤنڈرز، میں نقلی ہوں، اصلی فاؤنڈرز نے 30 برس پہلے لگایا، وہ پھلے گا اور پھولے گا۔ مجھے بیحد خوشی ہے کہ آج 3 الومنائے سمیرہ صاحبہ اور عشرت صاحب کے پیچھے ان کے قدموں میں چلے۔ مجھے امید ہے کہ جلد یا صحیح وقت پر الومنائے ان ہستیوں کی کرسیوں پر بیٹھے ہوں، خواہ یہ میری زندگی میں ہو یا بعد میں۔ الومنائی ایسوسیشن فاؤنڈر ارشد عبداللہ کی یادگار ہے۔ Rest assured, Asma, I have no doubt with everyone's participation, IVS will attain its true potential and will also glitter like diamonds. Thank you.
The IVS Alumni Award, sponsored by the IVS Alumni Association, aims to appreciate a thesis design project which is embedded in social awareness and sharing responsibility for a better tomorrow, an initiative that follows our founder's vision.
The President Alumni Association, Ms. Bisma Askari, is requested to proceed to the rostrum to give the IVS Alumni Award to the recipient.
This year, 2 graduating students will receive the IVS Alumni Award. The award goes to Fatma Azim from the Department of Interior Design. Fatma Azim from the Department of Interior Design. And Asim Muhammad Amin from the Department of Fine Art.
The management of Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture wishes to acknowledge the dedication and commitment of one staff member completing 10 years of continuous service at Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture.
May I request the Chairperson, Executive Committee, Ms. Sameera Raja, to come forward and present this award.
The 10 years service award goes to Mr. Anil Jedi.
To commemorate the 25th graduating batch of Indus Valley School of Art and Architecture, special awards in 2 categories are being conferred at this convocation ceremony.
The first category of the special 25th Convocation Awards are being awarded in recognition of dedication and commitment of all those faculty and staff members who have completed 25 years of service at IVS.
Chairperson, Executive Committee, Ms. Sameera Raja will present these awards. These special 25th Convocation Awards in alphabetical order of names are awarded to Mr. Kashif Nisar, Ms. Meher Afroz, Mr. Muhammad Ali Khan, Mr. Muhammad Usman Khan, Miss Nahid Yahya. Mr. Parvez Ansari. Miss Ruhi Shafiq Ahmed. Miss Sadia Salim. Mr. Shahidullah Bare. Professor Shehnaz Ismail. Miss Wahida Mansoor. Thank you, Miss Samira Raja, for giving these awards.
The second category of the special 25th Convocation Awards are being presented in honor of all the founding members of IVS for their vision, immense dedication, and relentless hard work in realizing the dream of establishing a quality institution in Karachi city offering education in the fields of art, design, and architecture.
May I request the Chairman of the Board of Governors, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, to come forward and present the 25th Convocation trophies to IVS founders.
These special 25th Convocation Awards in alphabetical order of names are awarded to Architect Arshad Abdullah, his children, Mr. Faisal Abdullah, Ms. Sana Abdullah, and Ms. Asna Abdullah are requested to receive the award of the late architect Arshad Abdullah. Mr. Hamid N. Jafar. Mr. Imran Mir. His son, Jibran Mir, will receive the late Mr. Imran Mir's award. Mr. Inayat Ismail. His niece, Ms. Maria Faruqi, is requested to receive the award of the late Mr. Inayat Ismail. Ms. Nighat Mir. Ms. Noorjahan Bilgrami. Architect Shahid Abdullah. Mr. Shahid Sajjad. His wife, Mrs. Salmana Sajjad, is requested to receive the award of the late Mr. Shahid Sajjad. Professor Shehnaz Ismail. Her daughter Maya Inayat Ismail will collect the award on her behalf.
Assalamu alaikum. I just need to say that all the hours that we spent away from our children dreaming about IVS and what IVS has become today, I dedicate this award to all the children of the founders. And so Maya, this is for you.
Architect Syed Alkeel Bilgrami. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Ishrat Hussain.
May I request Architect Shahid Abdullah to come to the rostrum and say a few words on behalf of all the founding members of IVS.
Assalamu alaikum. It's a very emotional moment. I didn't think I would be I would behave like this or act like this, but the valedictorian mentioned about tantrums. Let me tell you, none of my kids, or maybe most of our kids, never became artists or architects because we still have tantrums. And often I hear my kids say, "Papa, yaar, wake up, grow up, please." Anyway, we don't really need to grow up. You don't need to grow up. I don't know what I'm supposed to say except that the whole thing began with a meeting in South Korea where we said, "What a beautiful place this is," and we were at a college and we said, "Why can't we have a college like this?" And that was the beginning. And here it is, and let me tell you that we felt that who wants to donate for an art school? So when you go around asking for donations that you want to put up an art school, we expected everybody to say, "Are you out of your mind? Why do you need an art school?" Because there is so much to give to hospitals and to other institutions and the needy and whatever. And for those people who don't understand art, and for those parents who have felt that this is useless, what your kids have done, I just want to tell you that if you look at your body and anything in your house, everything has been designed. Whatever you see, whatever you use, whatever you are surrounded with has to be designed. Who is going to design it? So it is that important. When you go and buy a 5,000 rupee mobile, you are still looking at 10 of them because you don't like the design of one or the other. So it's that simple, whether it's a pen or an Anak or whatever. Anyway, but I just want to tell you, wherever we went for donations, nobody said no. Everybody gave when we asked them. And I think it was Allah's ways of opening the doors to something that we wanted to do genuinely. And if you do something genuinely, He's always with you, because आपने उसकी रस्सी पकड़ ली, वो आपकी रस्सी कैसे छोड़ेगा? And with that belief, we went on, whether it was the new building, or whether it was the Nasarwanji, or whether it was this piece of land, or whether it was any fundraiser that we had. Work never stopped because we did not have enough money. Because whenever we needed money, somehow it came. And not from the government, which was fine. So I just want to tell you that now that you have graduated, you are, I would say, you are the unplanted seeds, who are waiting to blossom. My wish for you is to continue with who you are, what you are, and show the world and astonish the world with your kindness, your generosity, and your talent. Because every good you do, good will come to you. Always remember that. Thank you.
May I request the Chairman of the Board of Governors, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, to present the concluding remarks.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. The learned keynote speaker, Ms. Salima Hashmi, worthy founders of IVS, the honorable members of the Board of Governors, the Executive Director, distinguished guests, members of the faculty and staff, graduates, their parents and friends. Assalamu alaikum. Let me first join Samina and Asma in paying my personal tribute to the memory of Dr. Javed, who was our first academics dean and who was very instrumental in laying the foundation for a rigorous program of academics in IVS. And I am sure that the tradition he has set for us would be followed in the future by his successor and the rest of the faculty and the Board of Governors. Let me offer my heartfelt felicitation to all of you, the graduating class of 2018, and your parents for their dedicated efforts that culminated in today's proud achievements. You have joined a very distinguished and elite group of professionals who have now acquired the capabilities to forge ahead in your professional life. I also wish to thank our chief guest, an accomplished artist, an educator, an icon for our younger generation, for gracing this auspicious occasion by her presence this morning. For IVS, today is a momentous day, a historic day, as it celebrates its 25th graduating batch, and you're all very closely connected to this milestone. What is so unique about this celebration is the spirit of the community, which believes that a strong grounding in art and design education is essential for the social, economic, and intellectual well-being of our world. An education that prepares you to become a lifelong learner. Think contextually, or as popularly referred to, think critically, your critical thinking lies in your ability to take an idea of complex proportions, break it down in its component parts, analyze those parts in detail, negotiate positions with which you disagree, and then assemble all of that in a compelling form. This form could be written or oral statement, a painting or film or a sculpture, and so on. You are trained to think critically. Your work, its relevance to social issues, and the impact it leaves on others. I'm sometimes surprised how today we all talk about ourselves. A century ago, people didn't talk about themselves as much. Maybe a few of the rich folks did, and you used to read it in novels and interviews, but my guess is most people didn't. Why do we now always have this obsession with the self? This is so dominant at this moment in our society, whereas the sense of doing your public duty, fighting a social cause, or being involved in a political movement where yourself is absorbed into a greater project has all but disappeared. In the last 100 years or so, we have put the self on a pedestal, and then certain influence groups and to some extent media play the role of cheerleaders for this process in many ways. Remember that as educated and enlightening individuals, we have other sides to us which can be rational and more objective and less self-obsessed. We can think about things outside ourselves, not purely in terms of ourselves. And we can be inspired by those things outside. That capacity is to be regained. I do not think it has been lost forever, but we have to make an effort because the existing power structures want us to meekly earn, spend, and endlessly shop for stuff we mostly don't need. We always talk so much about our rights, but not about our duties. The modern age is encapsulated in a paradigm of rights, and the duties and responsibilities are totally overlooked and shunned. We all want to change the world, but as the great sage Rumi says, yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I'm wise, so I'm changing myself. Without changing ourselves and looking outward, we cannot be in unison with the world. The ethos of this institution, written by its founders in its vision statement, emphasizing on being a good human being before anything else. Some people think that being a good human being is as simple as not doing harm to others. But that's not always about what you don't do, but what you do for others. You must decide what you believe being a good person entails. Philosophers have been debating what is good and what is not for centuries. And many people find that it is more complicated than just being kind to others. While every person's journey is different, being good has a lot to do with discovering yourself and your role in the world. You may ask, what makes for a life well lived? In order to answer that question, you will have to give a great deal of thought to what brings meaning to your life and how the choices you make in your daily lives, including your career, friendships, family, obligations to our communities, are going to be informed by that overarching notion of what you consider is a good life. There's real joy in discovering the purpose of your life, and a very deep satisfaction too. I urge you to march on this path of self-discovery and find the purposes of your life. On this singular occasion of the 25th batch of students graduating from IVS, let me offer my profound thanks and those of my colleagues on the Board of Governors, Executive Committee, Finance Committee, to the founders, sponsors, donors, past and present board members, past and present executive directors, faculty members, and alumni for making the school what it is today. Their support, inspiration, and efforts have made it possible for this institution to become a leading center of excellence in the fields of art and architecture. Pursuant to our vision of 2025, we should continue our efforts in promoting a culture of excellence in research and innovation, contributing towards a just and tolerant society, and enabling our students to serve as instruments of positive change. For many of you, this day will be an extremely happy one. You are graduating from one of the finest educational institutions in the region with a dream of a splendid future in front of you. When you reach my age, if all goes well, we will have eliminated poverty and be nudging into the ranks of the developed countries of the world. Some of you will have climbed your way to the top of Fortune 500 companies or design houses. Some will be charismatic political leaders, and some learned university professors. Some of you will choose to dedicate your lives to helping others through social work or raising up a family. The one certainty is that you will all face challenges. After all, that is what makes life exciting. But you will always have the training to overcome those challenges. If you survive your years at IVS, I can assure you can survive almost anything. A final word about your future path in professional life. Let me assure you that it will not be without many difficulties. It is possible to be overwhelmed and forget to experience all the greater things that these difficulties offer you. So I want to pass what has kept the vibrancy in my 5 decades of professional life. My humble words, if you will believe them, are mistakes are bound to happen. Problems are going to arise. But just as the problems arise and mistakes are made, solutions will also be found. It is a positive attitude towards life that will lead you to those solutions. It is as simple as that. You can and you will overcome those hurdles. And believe me, it is not going to be easy, but you will deal with them, whatever arises, because you are braver than you believe and you are stronger than you think. You create your own life and your own work. Please give us your best of your art, best of your thoughts. We crave it with great hunger. Help us to see ourselves and illuminate our lives. And of course, live long, meaningful lives and prosper. Thank you.
The Registrar will now request the Chairman, Board of Governors, Dr. Ishrat Hussain, to declare the convocation closed.
I declare the convocation closed.
The graduating students are requested to reassemble near the Turtle Pond for the tree planting ceremony immediately after the departure of the procession. Ladies and gentlemen, kindly remain seated until after the academic procession departs, when further announcements will be made.